Meanwhile, Medicare and Medicaid pose one of the greatest threats to our federal deficit and could leave our children with a mountain of debt that they cannot pay. All of which would pose a serious threat to our national security. And if left unchecked, these terrorists could pose a growing threat beyond the Middle East, including to the United States. Right now, they pose a threat to the people of Iraq, Syria, and the broader Middle East. We need our kids to hear us speak up about the risks guns pose to our communities and against a status quo that doesn't make sense. Now, finally, there remains the question of detainees at Guantanamo who cannot be prosecuted, yet who pose a clear danger to the American people. North Korea's nuclear and ballistic missile programs pose a grave threat to the peace and security of the world, and I strongly condemn their reckless action. Its nuclear and ballistic missile programs pose a grave threat to peace and security of Asia and to the world. I am proposing that the Federal Reserve be granted new authority and accountability for regulating bank holding companies and other large firms that pose a risk to the entire economy in the event of failure. And that's why we'll create clear accountability and responsibility for regulating large financial firms that pose a systemic risk. What does that mean? It means we've got to ensure consolidated supervision of all institutions that could pose a risk to the system. And how can we honor the fallen? How can we be true to their memory? You see, when a tragedy like this strikes, it is part of our nature to demand explanations, to try to impose some order on the chaos and make sense out of that which seems senseless. Is that the question you want to pose to me, Hans? You get one.
I have a question then about exports and jobs.
Okay.
You've just spoken about some of the deals that you.
The declaration President Obama and I are issuing today commits our governments to find new ways to exclude terrorists and criminals who pose a threat to our peoples.
There remains a degree of uncertainty, and there are still regime elements who pose a threat. In this regard, we discussed North Korea, which continues to pose a direct threat to the security of both our nations.